here's all my ISDT stuff, and I have previously said how much I really like this company because they're really kind of sort of innovating a little bit, at least in charger technology, and just giving us something that's a little bit more reasonable. But the more I looked into the company, the more disappointed I became. I still hugely appreciate what they do, but it's really unfortunate that they don't take it a step further and actually complete the job. So the new thing here is the Battery Go, or BattGO. And this is what BattGO is. I broke this battery this morning, and if you take a look, this is how BattGO actually works. There's a circuit board in there with probably some firmware, and this board over here that's connected to all the cells. You can see there's 3 cells plus the power wires here. And so you have this one wire, which previously the person I was talking to from ISDT would tell me that all the circuitry and everything is in the connector. And I'm like, how is that possible? You can't have all this information in the connector. And this is what they did. They put all this stuff here. So it does add a little bit of weight, a couple grams probably. But my bigger concern is that now you have more stuff to break inside the battery. That being said, the balance leads, thankfully, are directly connected to the cells. So if you do break the board or break all the circuitry, you're not SOL. You still have a battery that works. You just have a little bit of extra weight. Regarding the 2 batteries, these are the Charge Soon. I think these are the first BattGO batteries to actually come out. They're essentially the same exact battery, even though one's 1500, one's 1300, seemingly exactly the same weight. The 1500 is just a hair fatter and weighs about 5 grams more. So I don't know. I get about the same flight times on both. I can't really tell a difference. The quality of the battery is not the best of the best, but it's on par with close to the best of the best. It's really hard to tell in flight performance, and I'm also not racing, so I'm not pushing these batteries to the absolute limits. So it's really hard for me to tell. The performance is good. It's not bad. Is it worth your money? I don't know. I'm sure it's a little bit more expensive than your typical batteries that you're buying because of the Battery Go stuff inside. But let's go over what this BattGO can actually do and what it's intended for. So first and foremost, this is the only BattGO item that I have, which is the kind of balancer thingamajigger. And when you plug it in, you give it a second. I don't know if you can see it. And there you go. So this is just the power lead, and it's monitoring all the cells, and it's giving you percentage and temperature as well. I actually had to update this thing for me to get temperature and all the rest of the information. And then here you go. Here's the actual information. So I have run this pack for at least 10 cycles. Yet it only says 2 cycles here. I don't really know why. And it's measured that one time I have dropped the cells well below what it thinks is a comfortable cell voltage, which I think is 3.3 volts. I'm not sure. There's nowhere to really set that. That tells me the C rating of the battery. The best part about this BattGO stuff, to me, is that the batteries now have a serial code. When you plug them into the computer, there is a serial code. So let's further go over what this BattGO is supposed to be able to do. When you plug this BattGO into a designated BattGO charger, it is supposed to automatically tell the charger what amps to charge it at, and you don't need the balance lead any longer. It will balance everything itself because it has its own circuitry in here, and it would be really convenient to do so. In addition, when you look at on the computer thing, which this little dongle lets you do, it's a USB port for your battery. So when you plug this into the computer and you look at the computer like display, it gives you all the information, the same information as on the battery checker. In addition, you can adjust a couple little settings on this window. You can change the maximum voltage you want it to charge to. You can change the resting voltage that you want it to go to after a certain amount of time. So over here it's set to 240 hours. I actually can't change it from 240 hours. It's only 240 hours. And at that time it'll drop down to resting voltage just like a phantom battery. So super convenient there. You don't have to discharge your batteries anymore. And then you can change the milliamps that you want it to charge at, and that's about it. It gives you the serial number, it gives you information about the battery, and that's that. I wish there was a little bit more information. I wish I could set the maximum charge voltage to whatever I want. I wish there was a pro version that would let me set the max charge to like 4.8 volts if I wanted. You know, whatever. It's up to me. It's my battery. It can give you a warning, but I wish I had that control over the thing. That being said, I don't have any BattGO chargers. I only have this little BattGO checker. But I do have these other chargers, and the ISDT D2. I have talked to them a lot about this charger. This is my favorite charger. It's the only charger I use right now. I don't even use my other one. The USB port on it is really convenient for charging surprisingly, I use it to charge my phone. It works great. It does have a headphone jack, so you can update it with this updater dongle, which this is purely for updating. You cannot do anything else, even though they say you're supposed to be able to set settings and whatnot of your charger and other things. This is the best charger to me right now. The most unfortunate thing is that it does not have a DC in. If they added a DC in to this charger, it would be hands down the best value of any charger out there, because it's small enough to be your field charger and take with you on trips, but powerful enough to do everything you want it to do. And if you could charge in the field with it, you wouldn't need anything else. This is perfect. This is it. But they haven't done that yet, and they don't care, and they're not receptive to it, unfortunately. So they have a series of other field chargers, which are fine. They're not really that special. I don't really use them that often, because to use this, you really have to bring like a balance board, even though it lets you charge it. This one lets you charge at 8 amps. They have one that lets you charge at 14 amps. But you really do need a balance board and various other ways so that you can, properly charge in the field. You don't want to sit there and wait for every one battery to charge. It's just annoying. This thing, on the manual online, it says that you're supposed to be able to plug your ISDT discharger into this thing and then set the settings of the discharger. Not the case. You can't do that. You're also supposed to be able to plug this discharger into the computer and set the settings. Not the case. You can't do that. In fact, when I plugged it in and I plugged the battery in, it started sparking and my computer shut down. So yeah, probably not a good idea to even try to plug this into the computer. I don't know why they've chosen to use this 3.5mm headphone jack and not just have a standard USB port. On the BattGO battery checker, it does have a USB port, makes it super convenient for updating and whatnot. So yeah, I don't know. Of all these products, the ones that I would recommend the most are this charger, which is fantastic. That's the #1 recommendation. The next recommendation I would have is this thing. And the only reason I would recommend this above all other battery checkers and everything else is that you can charge your phone, USB charge. I've used this on planes, I've used this on trips in the field. It's amazing just to always have a phone charger with you. I couldn't even believe how convenient it was. That being said, it does drain your battery quite a bit to charge your cell phone, because even though these batteries are massive, they don't actually hold as much power as your cell phone battery, so keep that in mind. You can set it for, there's a whole bunch of other issues with this thing in general. Overall, these are the two main things I would recommend. The next item I would recommend is actually the discharger, because I do usually come home with 1 or 2 packs that are charged, and it is super convenient to be able to discharge my batteries, although it does not let me set the discharge voltage it goes to. So it just discharges off to whatever it thinks is correct, which is 3.8 volts per cell. I like to keep my cells at 3.81 volts per cell, just because I know it's going to leak a little bit over time. It's going to discharge over time, and if my batteries are sitting around for a couple weeks, they'll lose that 1/10 of a millivolt, and I don't want my battery. I don't want to have to check my batteries so often. On top of that, it also does not have a balance port. If you're going to buy a dedicated discharger, why wouldn't you have a dedicated balance port so it can at least balance the discharge properly? This battery checker is great, but it's ultimately useless because this one is way better, and you probably have a much cheaper battery checker already, so there's no point to this. The field chargers are fine, but I'm just not a fan of these little tiny field chargers. They're great for trips, but if you take it on a trip, you're gonna have to mock up some weird power source, like a laptop power source or something. It's not as convenient as you would think it would be. If you're new to the sport or the hobby, it's a good idea to pick up one of these, because you're not wasting money. You can kind of hack a laptop charger, and you're going to be fine charging 1 or 2 packs or even a balance board for a long time until you're flying more and more and you just don't have the patience for it. And then you can step up to something like this charger, yet you still have your field charger, which works great as a field charger. Here, I'll actually turn it on for you. This one does not have the BattGO stuff. They do have something that has the BattGO stuff, one of the chargers that do have BattGO, but yeah, it's just like any other ISDT you would expect. The biggest gripe that I have about these chargers is this stupid jog wheel. While it's really nice and convenient to have this jog wheel, I would much prefer buttons like this. I really would prefer to just have 3 buttons, because when you jog this wheel, each jog is not always one, like sometimes you have to like play with it to get it to go where you want, and when you want to go click on something, it moves to the next one. It's just annoying. I really wish they would get rid of it, or at least get a firmer one that's more accurate. Yeah, that's that. My assessment of the BattGO is it's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, don't bother with it. It could be convenient. I can understand how this kind of consumerizes the sport, because now the batteries are more like phantom batteries or DJI batteries, where you just plug them in, they charge, and then you use them, and when you're done, and if you haven't discharged it, it discharges itself. It's like much more convenient. All you have to worry about is over discharging your battery. But for people that have been in the sport already, or just used to things the way they are, you're not really going to want the BattGO technology. And I really, unless they do something to improve the functionality of all these things, which all really should be talking to one another, I honestly don't see ISDT going anywhere else until they kind of get that stuff in check. That being said, I do think this is the best charger on the market. I think it's the most convenient. I think it's the easiest, just overall my preferred charger, because of how convenient and easy and just straightforward it is to use. I do have 3 other chargers. They all charge more than 2 batteries at one time, but I still prefer to use this charger because it's just so convenient and so easy. That's that. I think I've said plenty about this ISDT stuff. Thanks, bye. Don't forget to floss.